What is that shit, huh? I could crack my knuckles with more rhythm than that. I mean, you're killing rock and rape and roll, man. Ford, I'll take her with me. I swear I will. Clint Eastwood. I fucked them. Oh! Nice tie, Lieutenant Anus, sir.
Are you calling me an asshole?
I'm calling you an anus. You look like you.
Booty time, across the USA. Booty time, hey, hey, hey. Booty time, across the USA. It's booty time, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Unbelievable. Oh!
Good evening. Welcome to this week's edition of the WayBack Movies Podcast, a show where we review the best and not so best of 80s and 90s cinema, because really, fuck the 2000s. My name is Steve, and with me on this crazy journey,
Justin.
Doctor. And we're back with one of the weirdest movies we've ever covered. This is a motion picture.
This was a movie.
It was. Kinda. Yeah, I don't really know what to say about this as we move forward on this one. This was somebody really thinking that Andrew Dice Clay needed to have a movie. This is, of course, we're talking about The Adventures of Ford Fairlane. Maybe, possibly the cultiest of cult movies we're covering here.
Yeah.
This was... I don't even know how to explain it, but I guess we'll get there. So, with that being said, let's just, I guess, get right to it?
Yep.
Yeah? Alright, so we're jumping back to 1990. Ooh, so here we are, July 11th, 1990. I was not in a movie theater watching this. I was probably still riding high from seeing Ninja Turtles. I don't know when that came out. I know it was 1990. I just don't remember what month it came out. But
I was about 8 days away from being 2.
Wow, I was 8. Just being me.
So... for sure, I was not in a movie theater watching The Adventures of Ford Fairlane.
I will say this of this movie. If I saw this one when I was a kid, I would have loved it. I absolutely would have loved it. It would have been...
you would have saw this when you were a kid. Someone would have questioned why you were in the movie theater.
Well, I probably wouldn't have seen it in a theater, but I definitely would have seen it on video. This definitely seems like something I would have come across on First Choice / BNN.
This is a VHS find. This is a pay-per-view find.
Yeah, this would have been one of those cable TV things that I would have happened upon, because there are a lot of those movies.
How I watched it.
I'd never seen it until recently, until actually a few days ago.
Was this your first time watching it?
It was. I've never seen it before. I didn't know of its existence until about a year ago.
Oh, I love this movie.
I wasn't aware, which is so strange considering the cast. I should have been...
It's quite the cast.
I should have been down with this from day one, but I don't know how I didn't, but I didn't.
It's a who's who of... You really got that person to do this?
Yeah.
Do you have pictures of them doing something?
There was a lot of beg, borrowing, and stealing on this one. But anyway, as we said, we'll just get into it then. So The Adventures of Ford Fairlane, July 11th, 1990, directed by Rennie Harlin. Sound familiar? He directed Nightmare on Elm Street 4. Screenplay by David Arnott, James Capp, and Daniel Waters. Story by David Arnott and James Capp, based on characters created by Rex Weiner. Produced by Steve Perry and Joel Silver. Production company Silver Pictures. Distributor 20th Century Fox. Box office of $21.4 million against a budget of $20 million.
Almost.
That sounds like it's profitable, but it's not.
Just failed.
Because, some of that movie has to go to the movie theaters. And also there was, advertising, which I don't think there was much on this movie, but there, a couple bucks were spent.
At best, they broke even.
Yeah, at best, but it's not likely. So the cast on this, wait till you get a hold of this shit. So, Andrew Dice Clay is Ford Fairlane. Wayne Newton,
yep,
that one, is Julian Grendel.
Mr. Vegas.
Priscilla Presley,
yep,
that one, is Colleen Sutton. Lauren Holly is Jazz.
Mrs. Jim Carrey.
Mrs. Jim Carrey. Yeah, we'll get there. Gilbert Gottfried is Johnny Crunch. Maddie Corman is Zuzu Pedals. David Patrick Kelly is Sam the Sleazebag. Fucking Morris Day is Don Cleveland. Freddy Krueger himself, Robert Englund, is Smiley. Al Bundy himself, Ed O'Neill, is Lieutenant Amos. Brandon Call is the Kid. Vince Neil, that one, is Bobby Black. Neil. And Sheila E. is the club singer who is singing the songs.
You can thank Morris Day for getting Sheila E.
Yeah. I don't know how. Such a strange thing. But before we get there, because let's face it, there isn't that much about this movie, and really, there's only one real reason this movie existed, and that would be Andrew Dice Clay, who was the largest comedian at the time, was just the guy. Born Andrew Clay Silverstein, was one of the biggest comedians in America. He came into prominence with a brash, purposely offensive persona known as the Dice Man. His material was heavily homophobic and misogynistic. Was the first comedian to sell out Madison Square Garden for 2 consecutive nights. He often stated that his stage persona was a character created from the guys he grew up with in Brooklyn. The things his stage character hated most was homosexual and women. I think I already mentioned that. I don't know why I rewrote that twice, but who cares? On September 6, 1989, MTV aired its 6th annual Video Music Awards. Andrew Dice Clay came out to introduce a live performance by Cher. Before he did 3 minutes of stand-up, which resulted in him being banned for life from MTV, which Ford Fairlane comments on in the movie.
Little Miss Muffet sat on her tuffet, eating her curds and whey. Mm-hmm. Along came a spider, who sat down beside her and said, "Hey, what's in the bowl, bitch?"
Oh!
And that is my favorite Andrew Dice Clay joke.
Honestly,
I wonder why they banned him. Because I guarantee you, I assure you, they get far worse from that one. That was probably the tamest one.
Oh, there was, and I had one prepared, and I should have wrote it down, but now I've forgotten it. It was, shit. I'm gonna fuck it up. I don't even want to do it, but I'm gonna anyway. Fuck it. Shit.
Is it Old Mother Hubbard?
No. It was either Jack and Jill or Hickory Dickory Dock.
Oh, the Hickory Dickory Dock one was far worse. Because the Jack and Jill one is Jack and Jill went up the hill, both with a bucket of quarter. Yeah. Jill came down with $2.50. Oh!
Hickory Dickory Dock, a chick was sucking my cock. The clock struck 2.
It's probably best you...
I blew my goo. And fuck, Jill, and shit. Somebody said something else. Fuck! I forgot the whole thing. Damn it, I knew I should have written it down. But yeah, that's where we're going with this. And that's what Andrew Dice Clay did.
And again, you wonder why he was banned from music television.
Oh, we're not done from the banning.
No, he's been banned in several places.
Dice was scheduled to host Saturday Night Live to promote this movie. In protest, the cast member Nora Dunn and musical guest Sinead O'Connor boycotted the show. Ironically, Sinead would get banned herself 2 years later by ripping a picture of the Pope up on the broadcast. So, there you go.
There's no fucking way I'm doing no SNL with no Andrew Dice Clay, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, but, I mean, I would more support her banning, but I agree why she did it, so, but still, fucked up.
No, listen,
she made a point, Dice was just offensive.
I understand.
Yeah.
Andrew Dice Clay, even back in the 90s and late 80s, is way too much. Way too offensive.
Well, as I said before, he was purposely offensive. That was the point of the character.
That was the joke.
Yeah.
Now, today...
It could not happen.
No.
There's a reason Dice doesn't have a career now.
Yeah.
As Dice greeted the audience, because he did perform on SNL, as Dice greeted the audience, he joked about the controversy. Several gay activists began heckling him. "Racist, sexist, anti-gay, Clay, go away," they chanted before being let out by security. Shortly after, he appeared on Larry King to address all his critics by stating that his onstage character is just that. It may be him on stage, but he doesn't believe the things he's saying. He's just being controversial for the sake of comedy. That still wasn't enough. The breaking point came when he was on... he made an appearance on the Arsenio Hall show, and he had a slight meltdown, at which time he welled up in tears and broke character by saying, "Andrew Clay is a guy who came out here 10 years ago and broke his ass. He believed in himself and became the hottest comic in the world. And anybody that doesn't like it can wipe their ass with anything they say about me. Because I always believe you can put yourself where you want to be. Believe in yourself." And I did watch the clip. He's breaking the whole time. Like, he's trying to keep it together. He's pretty much crying.
Because he still wants to be a big tough guy.
He does, but he can't. And he literally did it. He tried to do it in character. He got up from the couch because Arsenio asked him a question. He gets up from the couch, does the fucking moves, lights the cigarette like he does, and tries to get through this, and fails almost after he said, "Andrew Clay is a guy who came out here." From that moment, it just his voice catches and he can't get it through. After this movie flopped, his act didn't evolve, and with the changing of social attitudes, making fun of homosexuals and women became less and less tolerated as time went on. He still defends his act by saying, "When the press started coming after me in '89, I couldn't back down from that. I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. The Dice Man was not self-deprecating. He was a comedic superhero," which he says repeatedly in this movie. Mm-hmm. But claims it was really tough being a public enemy by stating, "I just really committed to what I do as a performer. It's not about being misunderstood. I think my career took off at a time when the world was changing a lot. Women were really fighting for their rights, gays were coming out of the closet, so I was like a lightning rod for every group looking for publicity. And that's what really caused a lot of craziness in my life." The Arsenio moment was the closest he came to showing his true self out of character until the Showtime series Dice, which ran for 2 seasons in 2016 and 17. He said of that show, I get to show people a little bit more about myself, and that he's a real human being, and that he hurts just like everyone else." So, that's Andrew Dice Clay in a nutshell.
Yeah.
So the production on this flick. The film's main character was created by writer Rex Weiner in a series of stories that were published as weekly serials in 1979 to 80 by the New York Rocker and the LA Weekly. These stories were published as a book by Rare Bird Books in July of 2018. This movie has nothing to do with any of those stories.
Just the name. Just the name of the character is Ford Fairlane.
Yeah, they bought the name, and I think he was the rock and roll detective.
Right.
But I think that's all they took.
No Zuzu pedals, no Black Plague.
No, I don't
Johnny
believe. I mean,
Crunch.
I don't know because I didn't read. I wouldn't
mind.
Just what it's saying.
It
would
just
it'd
got
be fun
released,
to do.
right?
Yeah.
2018?
So it might be fun. It might be fun to do. But yeah, I don't know if any of these characters are the same. They sound like they might be, but as far as the story of this was written around Dice.
Because all this is just a modern telling of a neo-noir.
Yeah, it's a neo-noir, hard-boiled crime story, but slanted way into parody.
Yeah.
But not like airplane parody, but parody.
Just comedic.
Yeah.
It's a comedic take.
Howard Stern auditioned for the role of Johnny Crunch at Andrew Dice Clay's insistence. Stern insisted the character was written with him in mind, and he didn't want to play himself. But he tried out for it anyway. It didn't work out, and Gilbert Gottfried was chosen instead. And if you can get Gilbert Gottfried, you do. Because...
well, blink and you miss him.
Fucking Gilbert, man. Yeah, but still, if you can get him, you get him.
Yeah.
Billy Idol was originally cast as Smiley, but he had to pull out of the role after a near-fatal motorcycle accident. Rennie Harlan personally asked Robert Englund to take over the role.
Hence the accent.
Yes. But Robert Englund can do it. He's fucking classically trained. He is trained in accents. Not that you can really tell, because he didn't really use it much, but it's there. He has the giggle from playing Freddy all those years.
Yeah.
You know? Stephen Percy, lead singer of Rat, was considered for Bobby Black. The role went to Vince Neil of Motley Crue. Like it fucking matters. Producer Joel Silver almost pulled the plug on the movie a few weeks before filming because he thought Andrew Dice Clay looked too fat.
Oh, well.
Okay.
I don't know if he's ever been...
He was never yoked. He was just, I mean, in all fairness, he was always just a dude in the big jacket, so I never knew how big he was.
Yeah. The jacket was to make him look bigger.
Yeah. Die Hard 2, which Rennie Harlan was hired to do based